Greetings, my dear learners. I once again welcome you all to this engineering geology course. This is module 1 for unit 2, mineralogy. In this module, we will be seeing introduction to minerals. My name is Sarath Kumar. I am working as an assistant professor in Department of Civil Engineering, GCE Dharmaburi. I have attached my mail ID here. If you have any doubts or queries, send it to this mail ID. In this module, we will be seeing what is mineral and what is mineralogy, how the minerals are formed, what are the various classifications of mineral, what is the importance of minerals in civil engineering field, and various methods available to study minerals. So first, what is mineral? It is defined as a natural, inorganic, homogeneous, solid substance having definite chemical composition and regular atomic structure. Can all materials can be called as minerals? Can all materials available on earth can be called as minerals? I am just prefacing the above statement as to be called as minerals, the substance should be natural. It should be naturally formed. It should not be man-made. It should be inorganic. That is, it should form from non-living things. It should not be from living things. It should be homogeneous. Means inside the mineral, it should have a same chemical composition. The properties, the physical and chemical properties should remain same. It should have a definite chemical composition. And the structure should be regular. The atomic structure here it is called crystal. Of course, there are some exceptions. Some precious gemstones like diamonds, rubies, which are called as minerals, are man-made. And also coal, amber, petroleum, these are also called minerals, but they are from organic substance, not from inorganic substances. Similarly, asphalt, mercury, petroleum are in natural state other than solids. In the previous slide, I have told minerals should be solid. But some of the minerals like asphalt, mercury, petroleum, these are in natural states, not solids, but they are also called as minerals. And also earlier I have said minerals, it should have a definite chemical composition. But some type of minerals like plagioclase feldspar have different chemical composition. Plagioclase feldspar available in various chemical compositions. Such minerals are also called as isomorphic groups. And this phenomenon is called isomorphism. So what is mineralogy? Mineralogy is study of minerals. Study of mineral is mineralogy. In mineralogy, we study about how the minerals are formed, what are the different mineral groups, how to identify the minerals, what are the different physical, chemical and optical properties of different minerals, and what are the modes of occurrence of minerals and its uses. So basically, we study about minerals in mineralogy. So next is how the minerals are formed. Normally, the minerals are formed from magma. Once the magma come out of the inner surface, when it is available on the outer surface, it is called as lava. In general, minerals initially form in two ways. Cooling magma. So once the magma come out of the inner surface, it starts to cool. Depend upon the rate of the cooling, crystallization forms. When the rate of cooling is very rapid, there is no crystallization formed. But when the magma closer to the surface cools much faster, producing smaller crystals. When magma remains deep below the surface, it cools slowly over many thousands of years. Such cooling leads to the formation of large crystals. Another type of formation is from solution. Crystallization of materials dissolved in water. One of the examples of cooling magma resulting in mineral is quartz. And minerals formed from solution, the example is calcite. So again, magma is a molten material from the mantle that hardens to form rock. Lava is magma that reaches the surface. Minerals form as hot magma, cools inside the crust, or as lava hardens on the surface. When these liquids cool to the solid state, they form crystals resulting in minerals. As I told, The mineral resulting from cooling of magma, one of the example is quartz. It happens at the surface. Minerals from hot water solutions. Sometimes the elements that form a mineral dissolve in hot water and form a solution. A solution is a mixture in which one substance dissolves in another. One of the primary example is salt water. When the salt dissolves in water, it creates salt water. The salt water is called solution. When a hot water solution begins to cool, the elements and compounds leave the solution and crystallize as minerals. This can happen on the ocean floor when ocean water seeps down through cracks in the crust. There is also another type of formation of minerals called minerals formed by evaporation. Minerals can also form when solutions evaporate. Example, salt from seawater. Several other useful minerals also form by the evaporation of seawater, like gypsum, calcite minerals, and minerals containing potassium. Till now we have seen the primary process of formation of minerals, that is the minerals that are formed directly from either magma or lava. These are all called primary process. The secondary process, the already formed minerals undergoes weathering due to various natural agencies like wind, river, running water, seawater, glacier, etc., and its precipitate and deposit, resulting in the formation of minerals. For example, clay minerals. So the already formed minerals directly from magma or lava undergo weathering, resulting in precipitation and deposition, resulting in new minerals. This is also the secondary process of formation of minerals, but here in addition to weathering, the mineral will undergo extreme heat and pressure, resulting in the change in chemical composition of the rock, forming new minerals. Examples: calcite, garnet, graphite, hematite, magnetite, mica, and talc. So the formation of minerals, there are two processes. One is primary process and the second one is secondary process. In primary process, the minerals, due to slow cooling of magma, result in the formation of minerals. The minerals formed from primary process will undergo weathering to create new minerals. The minerals created will be of same composition as to the primary minerals, but in minerals formed by metamorphism, in addition to weathering, the mineral will be subjected to heat and pressure, resulting in new mineral having different composition, chemical composition from the parent mineral. Examples of such minerals are garnet, hematite, etc. So mineral classification. There are various classifications, various number of classifications available for minerals. Based on civil engineering point of view, minerals are classified into two types: rock forming minerals like feldspar, quartz, and economic minerals like metallic and non-metallic minerals. Rock forming minerals are very important to civil engineering application. Economic minerals are basically the minerals that numerous commercial products are formed. So before going into rock forming minerals, we have to understand what are the elements that our earth crust is made of. As chemicals, our earth almost contains 47% of oxygen and 28% of silicon, 8% of aluminum and 5% of iron in major quantities, and various other minerals like calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium in very low quantities. And in igneous rocks, the major mineral is feldspar with almost 60%, and pyroxenes and amphifold groups comes at a percentage of 16.8%, quartzite and biotite at 12% and 3.8% respectively. So these are the major minerals that form the igneous rocks. So as I told, almost 99% of earth crust is made up of 20 to 25 type of rock forming minerals. The oxygen and silica constitute almost 75%. Therefore, rock forming minerals are mainly silicates. 98% of rock forming minerals are silicates. So what is the civil engineering importance of minerals? Civil engineers need to know the properties of rocks precisely to enable them to consider different rocks for any required purposes like foundation rocks as road metal, coarse aggregates, building materials as flooring and roofing materials as decorative materials, etc. So in order to use rocks for these civil engineering applications, one must know the rock precisely and in turn must know the minerals that forms the rocks. Thus, properties of civil engineering materials like strength, durability and appearance of rocks can be assessed only with the knowledge of the minerals that form rocks. The economic minerals, since they are scarce, do not influence the property of rocks and are irrelevant to field of civil engineering. But one must know the economic minerals so that the sites in which economic minerals are available should not be used in civil engineering applications, constructions. There are various studies available to identify minerals. The major studies are physical properties. Based on the form, luster, color, streak and hardness, the minerals can be identified and studied. And the next study is chemical composition. Based on the chemical composition and how the mineral reacts to various chemicals, the minerals can be identified and studied. Next study is study of optical properties of the minerals. Here the minerals are fine grained and are placed in the petrological. Once the fine grained minerals are placed in the petrological microscope, light rays are passed through it. Based on the observations of how light refracted in the fine grained minerals, the minerals can be identified and can be studied. Next study is X-ray analysis. Here, instead of passing light rays, X-rays are passed. X-rays shorter in wavelength than light waves. Here we are using the definite atomic structure of minerals to study the minerals. The X-rays diffracted were photographed and studied to identify the minerals. Relative advantages and disadvantages of different methods of study. X-ray analysis. It is the most accurate method, but it is also the most expensive method. It requires a lot of infrastructure, costly equipment and accessories are needed. Optical properties. Opaque minerals difficult to study under petrological microscope and some special microscope are needed. Amorphous minerals are difficult to study in this optical properties method, and also the cost involved in procuring the required equipment is very costly. The necessity, which is not very much when study of physical properties is enough. Sometimes minerals can be easily identified through physical properties. For such type of mineral, study through optical properties and X-ray analysis is not necessary. Polymorphism minerals having same chemical composition but different chemical properties are difficult to identify in chemical analysis because they may be having the same chemical composition, but when it is allowed to react with some chemicals, it will react differently. So such polymorphism minerals are very difficult to identify in chemical analysis. And also in chemical analysis, the cost of equipment and reagents used are also little higher. Facilities are required to test the minerals. Physical properties identification. Unique advantage is to make the study of minerals in the field itself. This is the only identification method where the minerals can be identified in the field itself. It does not require any sophisticated equipment. It does not involve use of any chemicals or facilities. It involves no or less wastage of minerals to be studied. It is the cheapest, simplest and least tedious and quickest method for identification of minerals. Slight variation in chemical composition alters physical properties of minerals. So almost many of the minerals will show some physical properties, and with experience only you can identify those type of minerals. Weathering alters many physical properties, makes identification difficult. So each method has its both advantages and disadvantages. Out of all the four methods, physical properties identification is the cheapest, simplest, least tedious and quickest method for identification of minerals, but it needs experience. Thank you.